Okay, welcome back. This is the Woodstock Guitar Guy. Glad to see you. And this is episode number 4. We're gonna try something a little bit different this time. We're going to switch up to a different kind of guitar, a budget, relatively budget guitar that I found to be exceptionally great deal. Get a lot of bang for the buck, as they say. And the models I got 2 based on the Telecaster. That's this one here. Now this is stock. I haven't done a thing to it. That's what you heard on the playing on the coming in, the intro. And I got it because first of all it was mahogany. This is first of all it's a thin line and it's very light. And I'm sort of at that point where I'm not so crazy about strapping on a heavy guitar anymore. I like lighter guitars. I've been playing acoustic for 40 years, almost exclusively, and this is sort of the best of both worlds for me. It's very light, semi-hollow. I think it might have a block in the middle. It probably does. And it's Telecaster, and this is how they come. They come with these wide range imitation Fender wide range pickups. It comes with its own sort of volume and tone and 3-way switch. It doesn't look like a typical Tele layout. This is kind of typical. The Tele input jack is usually here on the guitar. And it's an Eart. Eart. I found out that's how you pronounce it. Eart. E-A-R-T. And this guitar has a roasted maple neck, as you can see. Comes with their own branded tuning pegs, a couple of tuning trees, and looks like rosewood fretboard. But the magic of this guitar, aside from being extremely light, is that the neck is just to die for. I mean, it's a wonderful neck. It has it's what's called a contoured neck. Okay, so it starts out with a radius of 9.5, which, for those of you who aren't familiar with what radius is, that's the curve of the neck where the frets are. That's the radius. And most of the modern Fenders are like 9.5 radius, 9.5 inch radius they call it. The very earlier models and a lot of Telecasters were 7.25, which is almost, you can really see the curve in it. Gibsons tend to be 12. So what happens with this neck, which is really cool, is it starts out at 9.5 and it works its way up to 12 right around here, and then by the time it gets up here it's almost flat. It's like a 14 or so, I think they call it, and it makes for some very easy soloing, bending and stuff. It's a really good lead instrument. Plays really easily, and the neck, it's got medium jumbo frets. I believe they're stainless steel, and the neck and a bone nut. But the neck is great. It's got a satin finish on the back. These guitars, I'm going to tell you how much I paid for it as we get to the end here, but you're going to be shocked. These guitars come with like a lacquer finish. All right, lacquer being different than poly. It's not nitrocellulose lacquer, but it is lacquer. And I looked it up, and apparently these guys are using some ancient hundreds of years old lacquer technology to finish these guitars. And I believe it's Chinese technology. But I'm extremely impressed with the finish on these things. It just polyurethane. Even when you buff it up, it still feels like plastic. It still it gets sticky when you play it. This thing, it's smooth, but it doesn't. It's not thick. It's a thin finish, and I think that helps the guitar. I think that helps the resonating of the guitar, and it looks beautiful. I mean, if you look at this, it's got they picked some amazingly great wood for this thing, and of course the back has got it's all one piece kind of thing, string through. There you can see they come through. And very similar to a Strat, bolt-on neck, but it doesn't have the plate. You see, it has the recessed screws, which is kind of nice because you don't feel it when you play it. It just feels really smooth. So, and then it's got this bridge, set bridge, which is got the heavy saddles, which I particularly like. It's not the traditional Fender, three prong kind of, try to get it intonated forever kind of thing, like all the old ones. But it has this more modern bridge, which helps it a lot to stay in tune, and it just has really good sustain. Now the pickups, they're good. I mean, they're not Seymour Duncans. You're not gonna. We're gonna talk about that on the next episode with a different Eart guitar, which actually I modified and I put the Seymours in there. Okay, we'll talk about that on episode 5, the Eart, the Eart story. But this sounds. You heard it coming in. We're gonna play some more going out. I'm gonna play a few more riffs going out. But it sounds great. I mean, it really, what's not to like? And, I'm just playing into a Quilter. I got a Quilter, one of those little boxes, a Superblock US, it's got Fender tones in it, and I've got just a little bit of overdrive pedal going on, and I'm playing into a 10-inch Cannabis Rex speaker in its own little cabinet. It sounds great. I'm having a wonderful time with this particular setup. We'll get into other amps and tubes and all of that sort of stuff later. But anyway, I just wanted to say that this is an excellent guitar. I mean, I would put it. I'm not going to get into that comparison thing. It's better than this and not as good as that. Right? I'm just going to say, for what I paid for it, which was $250, new. Okay, I had to take the plastic off of everything. $250. You got to fish around. They're not marketing them for $250, but if you fish around, Marketplace, Facebook, that sort of thing, you'll be surprised that there are some really great deals out there. This is one of them. This Eart guitar, and the thing, because I bought a couple more, and the thing I found is they all have the same neck, which is great because I love the neck. It's worth $250 just for the neck, and I'm not kidding. The neck, you'll love the neck. It's not super chunky or anything. It's not super slim. It's just right, and feels good. Solid piece of wood. There's no scarf joint or anything like that. It's one piece of rock maple that's been roasted, toasted, and I just think they're an excellent bargain right now in the market. Now, the other option, the other part of this guitar, which the Fender Telecasters that I've played don't have, and that is this recess, this kind of cutout in the body, which allows you to get up high if you want to be. Sometimes I like to go up there. And it gets you up there without banging into wood and having to, you know, squeeze your hand over some thing in the back. It's clean, and you get right in there, which I love. I love that. See, look how far my hand is up, and that's just, that's because they did that for me. See that little cutaway. So, so that's the Eart, and this is their TT something something model. I'll put it in the comments below. Be sure and hit subscribe, and be sure and hit like, and if you want to send me a comment, hit comment and share. Sharing is how this thing is going to happen for me, is to get more people involved with what I'm doing, which is trying to help you guys and you gals who are just getting started, basically, and are slightly overwhelmed with the whole thing and don't quite know what's going on, and you just bought a guitar and an amplifier, and now what? I will say I had to do some setup on this. Not much. I had to do a little work on this nut. To get, what happens sometimes when you pick up a guitar. I'm going to show you. You hit that first chord, and it's out of tune, and you're like, but you play the chord up here, and it's in tune, and you can't figure out why is this. Why is this chord in tune, but this one not in tune? And the reason is that the nut has been cut shallow, okay, a little shallow. So the strings are up off the frets by a good bit. And when you actually press on that fret and push down, you're actually causing the note to go sharp. So what one of the setup tricks is, you get the special files, and one for each slot in the nut, and you take your time. You just take a little bit off, tiny bit, try the string again, see how it feels. If it's still not working, then you go back, take a little bit more off, and then you tune it back up again, and then you try it. And it's really great experience to get one of these, which is a tuner, rechargeable, and you can check your intonation with the tuner. That's always a lot of fun, because then, because sometimes your ear plays tricks with you, So anyway, here we are. We got the tuner on the thing, and we're checking the strings. And if the tuner goes wicked sharp on that, that note, then that the nut needs to be taken down a little bit. Now, I went on one of these sites and just bought a cheap set of files designed specifically for the nuts on guitars. And they work great. Occasionally, I get I call it a double cut. I'll get a little ridge in there. I'll bring it down. I'll get it in tune. Everything is fine. Everything's great. I bend a note, and it goes click. Don't be alarmed. It's a very easy fix. Just get a nice piece of, 800 grit sandpaper. Bend it over, and all you got to do is just give it a little light sand. The whole trick I learned with these guitars is not to overdo anything, is to just take your time, think about it, go have another cup of coffee, or have some seltzer, and you just kind of take your time with it, slow but sure, and you'll get it. And so that's the only other piece of this that you might run into when you're filing the nut. You might end up with a little bump in there, and when you go to bend the string, it'll click, and it's very annoying. It doesn't affect anything, but it's annoying. And so you just have to go back in with the sandpaper, give it a little, and then you should be good to go. Tune up the string again, try it again. it's trial and error is your friend on working with guitars. Believe me, don't think you can just do it and it'll just fix itself. That's not the case. You really have to keep going back, checking it. But once you get it, you're good. You're good to go, and you'll be very happy with the net results. I should also mention, if you want to raise and lower the strings, of course, you've got these little, they're called slugs, and there's 2 for each saddle, and you get, when you buy the guitar, you get a little tiny Allen wrench, and it goes in the little slug, and you can raise them and lower them. Your intonation is done off the back of the bridge. This is real beginner stuff, but these screws will draw your saddle backwards or allow it to go forwards, depending, so that when you're checking at the 12th fret, so you check your intonation and hit your note. See how I'm doing that? You want those 2 notes to be the same. And when they're not the same, that's when you go here with a Phillips screwdriver, preferably with a long handle, a long thing on it, so you're not scratching the beautiful lacquered finish on this great guitar. And then you either, if it's sharp, you pull it back. If it's flat, you bring it forward. That's how that works. The only other piece of the guitar that is really fun is this, and it is a wheel. Okay, you'll see these on a lot of Fireflies, and they're starting to become more and more common. Still don't have them on Fenders. Harley Bentons have them. And the wheel is the truss rod adjustment here for the neck. So, if you take a look at your neck, and if it's got a little bow in it this way, or a bow this way, this wheel is what you use to adjust the truss. And they give you a little little bar with a little handle on it, and you stick it in the hole, and you kind of, you turn it. It comes with instructions, and so you don't have to make this up as you go along. But you're basically going to turn the wheel one way to give it more relief, and the other way to give it less relief. Now, when a neck goes like this, you'll probably notice that some of your strings are buzzing. When a neck goes like this, you'll notice that the strings are really high in the middle of the neck. So those are your guides, and the idea is to get it pretty straight. I personally like a very tiny, very, very slight relief on the neck. It's an old habit of mine, but it doesn't affect the intonation or the playing at all. That's just kind of the way I've always been. That's it. We're going to come back with the next episode, and we're going to talk about modifying one of these. And I have a whole another one that I did some things to kind of change it around, and it'll be very interesting. It's easy stuff to do, easy. I'm not going to tear the guitar open. I'm not going to show you wiring. I'm not going to do soldering or anything, but I'll just tell you what I did. And then you're going to, if you want to do something like that, you can go on YouTube, and there are a million tutorials that'll show you how to do this stuff. I'm a player. I'm really kind of into getting good results. I want instruments I can play. But there's nothing more frustrating than, getting a guitar that's got some issues and you don't know what to do. And it's very, how do you fix, intonation, and how do you get the neck straight? I mean, these are basic things you should not have to pay any money to someone to have them do for you. You should be able to do them yourself. One last thing, the frets on this thing are beautiful. They've got rounded nubs on them, right? They're not, there's no sharp nothing, remember that guy I was talking about, Philip? What was his last name again? McKnight. Philip McKnight. I think that's his name. The gear guy. I love this guy. I love him. Comes out, puts the little glove on, and then he goes like this, and then he shows you if there's scratches on the glove and everything. Well, I can tell you right now, without a glove, that this neck is just beautiful. I've got a real Fender coming in here tomorrow, and I can't wait. I literally can't wait to compare a brand new Fender, never been played, with the 10 Strats over here that I built. You can't really see them, they're behind me. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Then we will maybe do some comparison once I actually have a real honest-to-goodness Fender in here. And we'll take some of my parts casters and we'll do some comparisons. So anyway, I'm going to leave it here. We're going to bring up another clip and I'm going to go out, play a little music on this beautiful guitar, the Eart TT. It has a number. I don't have it offhand, but I'm going to put it in the comments below so you can see it. And look around for these things. I think they're starting to get a little scarce. I know that Eart is starting to build headless guitars. Not my style. More like shredder style guitars. I'm more of a traditional guy. I like the vintage look, feel, playability, sound. I don't do shred. I don't like Floyd Rose. I barely use the tremolo, although it's good to have one once in a great while if you want to do a Neil Young song or a Beach Boys song or something. Ventures. So anyway, that's it. I'm going to go out with couple of riffs, and we'll see you next time. Thank you so much for tuning in. All right. Bye-bye.